You're in the Business Insurance Zone with me, Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and contributing author to Backroom Technician. This week on The Biz, the Sales Support Services Series. And on today's show, 403Bs with special guest Michael Prestwich, creator and distributor of Imagisoft.
When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
Well, welcome everyone to the Business Insurance Zone. I'm your host, Steve Savant, and we're broadcasting to a nationwide audience of financial advisors right here in Fountain Hills, Arizona, home of America's largest fountain. And with us today, my co-host, day 4, Michael Prestwich. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you for having me back.
I'm glad to have you back. And again, if you missed our shows with Michael Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I want you to go back out to our site, www.thebiz.tv, and watch those sites. I mean, yesterday we talked about 72T and RMDs. The day before we talked about stretch IRAs and generational planning up to 4 generations. We walked you through our annuity modeling. All this is on Imagisoft. Here we have the creator and distributor of that software. And remember, keep in mind that a lot of this is not only compliance driven, so you're really saving yourself, it's best practices for your firm. So this is really good to introduce your whole entire practice into compliance. And even though people say, well, Steve, I don't have to worry about that, I'm not FINRA licensed. But indeed, we still have regulatory issues on insurance areas that we need to be compliant on. And there were some things that Mike talked about on Monday that I didn't even know about. I'm thinking, whoa, better tighten that up. Now, Michael, we're talking about 403B. Now, this is a niche market. A lot of our guys have never tried it, never been in it, but maybe they should. And after today's show, they may want to dip their toe in. What is a 403B?
Typically, you think school teachers when you think 403B. It's really any nonprofit organization, but there's special things for educational, there's special formulas that go into those educational areas. And so just think of a school teacher, it has to be payroll deduction. So that's the one thing that you can't put money into a 403B unless it comes through your paycheck. And then there's certain limits that they can put into that.
So they're pulling that contribution before they do taxes.
Right.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So it's pre-taxed.
So they used to call this a tax-sheltered annuity, TSA, because you had to be with an insurance company. It was only an annuity, but now it's securities firms have gotten in there as well.
Now, are they selling securities in it, or it's an annuity?
No, there are some companies that have securities products.
That have nothing to do with annuities, just straight out securities.
Right.
Wow. Well, I'm thinking now, when I'm looking at this, how big is this? Is this a big market?
It's huge. I don't know how big it is, but it's in the billions, definitely.
So when I'm thinking of this would be public school teachers, does it matter? Are they all the way up the food chain? Elementary, high school, college?
Yes.
Oh, so this is across the board.
Yeah, there's one producer we have that is a manager, and he goes out and trains people. He tells them to buy our software, and one of them got mad at him. He says, you're just making a bunch of money off of Mike's software, doing all this kind of stuff. Let's see if you can sell. And he says, okay, I will. I'm going to go to Ohio State, which is where my hometown is, and I'm going to use this software, and don't call me. I'm going to be in sales mode. He did $10 million in a month.
Wow.
That's a pretty good year for most annuity salespeople. This guy did it in a month.
Just by using the software, because it has such a great technology to it, and the display, the printout, is easy to understand from a client point of view.
Very much so.
See, this is what I like. I want to be compliant, but I want sales. I want consumer-centric sales language and good presentation so that it's not hard to talk about. Now, when we talk about 403Bs, what are we doing? I mean, I guess I'm a traditionalist. I keep thinking TSA and only annuities. Now you're telling me, hey, we have equities involved and everything else. I walk in with your software. What am I trying to do? What is it going to do for my participant in a 403B?
Well, we have a real simple form that they fill out, so you can do this in advance and put their information in. But a lot of teachers feel secure in their state teacher retirement program, so this is going to take care of me. So we build in the state teacher retirement program there. You know when they started work, and it's like a before and an after, almost like a needs analysis. How much am I putting into a 403B, if anything? And then we show them the roadmap. There's a graph. We ask them how long they're going to live. And here's when how much money do you want to have when you retire? So if you're making $60,000 a year as a teacher now, let's say you want $45,000 when you retire. interestingly enough, your state teacher retirement plan won't give you the $45,000. It might give you $38,000. And if it increases with inflation, it won't increase on a compound level. So there ends up being big holes, and it shows them when they're going to run out of money.
I'm curious, and you may not know the answer to this, but is Social Security part of it? I mean, do teachers
Some of them
face it?
do.
Some of them, so they could get their teachers'
And it's
retirement
coordinated with Social Security.
and their Social Security. And now we're talking about adding a third tier to this, which
Exactly.
would be, for some cases, 403B.
Right.
Now, when I'm walking in and talking about it for the first time, what's the feature that you want to show, using like your software, using a Microsoft, that really will be really something they'll say, wow, I gravitate to that.
Well, a lot of people want to retire at a certain time, and if they don't do it right, they're going to really mess up their state teacher retirement plan. So that's one of the first things that a 403B person will do is they'll say, let me show you what you've got, and this is how much money you have to have. They'll say, I want to retire at 55. I've been in for 30 years, but they don't understand that at age 55, there's a huge reduction in their benefit. And so it shows them, okay, here's what you're going to get. Now, what options do you have? Well, you can work longer, you can get a higher rate of return, or you can die sooner if you want to try that one, or you can settle for less money. There's no really other options. So the people said, well, let's see what happens if I can go a little bit more, work a little bit longer. So you show them 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, and you build a plan that works exactly for them.
So you can manage it by year just to show them, here's the numbers. I bet it's a monster wake-up call for a lot of these.
It is.
I mean, this is what I love about sales tracks that actually evoke emotional response by a client to call to action. We're going to continue when we come back from the break on our 403Bs with my co-host Michael Presswich. And don't forget, you can enroll at IULUniversity.com for the best training, education, and sales support when it comes to life insurance for retirement income.
You're listening to the insurance industry's #1 resource for products, planning ideas, carrier information, and interviews you can use. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
Did you know the average 401k runs out of money just 7 to 8 years into retirement? Time Magazine, the Wall Street Journal, and many other publications have warned of the difficulty of saving with a 401k. But what if there was a way to create tax-free lifetime retirement income with no stock market risk? Good news, there is.
You know, living in fear of the next market dive is not the way I want to live my life.
Why would I go out there and take on risk when I don't need to?
I have a lot less stress knowing I can't lose any more of my retirement savings in the stock market.
Call now to receive your free, no-obligation analysis of what this retirement vehicle could do for you, a comparison to your current retirement plan, and a free video that explains this exciting opportunity. Start planning a retirement you can enjoy instead of worrying about future tax increases and stock market losses. Creating income that will last your entire life is the most important thing you'll ever do. Take control of your future. Call now for your free analysis, comparison, and video.
Well, welcome back to the Business Insurance Zone. I'm Steve Savant with Michael Presswich. And remember, you can order today's materials on thebiz.tv. And while you're out there, click on the Backup Technician icon for your free 30-day trial offer to access the best needs analysis and client education materials that address almost every financial planning scenario. And while you're out there, think about this. You can go to Magisoft and actually do their 7-day free trial. Everything we're talking about, except for the Social Security module, is a free 7-day trial. So I want you to go out there and try it, especially some of the things we're talking about. I think they're so germane to your practice, and it can actually build out your business because now you have a track to run on that is compliant and suitable. I love that. That alone will carry the day. And remember, before moving forward with any of the ideas you hear on our show, always consult your tax advisor or legal counselor, as well as your broker-dealer compliance officer if you're FINRA licensed. We're in the middle of talking about 403Bs. I used to think it was TSAs. Now they're securities or annuities. There are a lot of things they can put in it. But it's a law that they have to talk about this, right? I mean, they have to
Right.
give everybody that is a participant they have to walk them through this by law. Talk a little bit about
Yeah,
that.
anybody that's eligible, and in 403B, that's part-time people as well. So if they have the bus driver in the district, usually the employer is the school district, and let's say they have their own fleet of buses, if the bus drivers don't know there was a 403B, they could lose the ability to have 403Bs. Everybody in the whole district.
So he would have to waive it, right? I mean, the
Yeah,
bus
but if
driver.
he says, I never heard about it. So,
Right.
so the way a lot of people get into these districts is they explain that to them. They say, does everybody know that what their options are in 403B? Has everybody been talked to? Do they know about the state teacher retirement plan and how that works into their system? That's what I can do for you, is I can take this burden upon me and I will explain it to all of these people in a very generic way, and I'll hold an open seminar and I'll explain state retirement system and what 403B is and what the options you have. Now there's different slots, payroll slots. Some only have 5 slots. Some have 50 slots. So you have to make sure you have a slot for your product. And then, of course, when it comes to product choice, you have to explain why your product is the best product. But that's how you get like an unlimited group of prospects.
Now, let's just go back here. I guess I'm surprised here a little bit because now I'm adding, I could have the bus drivers, I could have the janitors, right? I mean, anybody that's connected to that school district would be eligible under 403B, and they have to be notified
Right.
to keep that 403B status.
Right?
Okay, now, so even though we have expanded past annuities, I'm just guessing, are annuities still probably the dominant sale here, or maybe not anymore?
I'd say not anymore, but they're still pretty big. There's some that are variable annuity products, some that are security products. Some states have limited it to like 5 options, and one of those would be a company that has fixed products. So the fixed products are always there in some point, but you make sure that you have the payroll slot.
When is the first time you can take constructive receipt on a 403B plan?
It works very, very similarly to an IRA. So think age 59 and a half, think age, the 72T like we talked about earlier. If you retire at 55, you'd have to work through 72T. And then you've got the 70 and a half where you have to start taking the
Does a 403B stay a 403B for the life of the client? I mean, he can't roll this over.
He can roll it into an IRA,
Oh, he could.
but there are some reasons he may not want to do that. 403B actually has some stronger pieces there. For example, you don't have to do the 70 and a half if you haven't retired yet. If you're still working as a school teacher and you're 75, you don't have an RMD.
There's no RMDs.
No.
Well, that's a new, hey, I have to say, even Steve Savant learned something on the show today. So they could go into perpetuity as long as they're pulling a W-2. And did you not say this could even be part-time?
Yeah.
Oh, I could totally see somebody saying, I don't want to work full-time after 70, but I wouldn't mind coming in 2-3 days a week and teaching maybe a PE course or whatever you'd want to do.
Get that, you're not retired.
You're not retired. Wow. Well, I think that would be a huge issue. So they may want to keep the 403B status because it's better than rolling it to an IRA. Now, when I'm thinking about annuities, we did fixed, we could do variable, we could do indexing. There's a lot of options here. I'm wondering, when people do equities, are they getting the same kind of recommendation that as you get older, you might want to start reallocating, a little more conservative, a little more preservation of principal becomes online? Do they do annual reviews? Is the agent or the person who's in charge of the 403B, is that a mandatory issue, or no? They just
It's not
do it?
mandatory, but it's a smart issue.
Right.
The people that are the biggest producers in any area, and 403B included, always do an annual review. If nothing else, you come in and you say, and our software has an option for this, is increase for inflation. So if inflation is 2% and you get a 2% raise, then you're paying $100 per paycheck. Now you're doing 102. Then the next year you do 104. And they just go in there and they just fill out a new, and they can just run last year's thing and say, are there any changes? Have you been married? Have you been whatever? Always do an annual
There's a
review.
whole ancillary sales office. I went in to do 403Bs. But now I'm meeting with this client. They're married more than likely. There could be other sales that come off
And a
this.
lot of people do it. They got an inheritance. I think when somebody that was a first-time producer got a $75,000 rollover from an inheritance that other people have. So you always ask those other questions as well.
Well, I love this, that your entree is 403B. It's not exclusively tied to teachers. It could be bus drivers, janitors, ancillary workers. And now we're saying, oh my gosh, this could be a platform to get in for ancillary sales, because you're going to have a spouse involved more than likely, and this is where it starts to leverage itself.
Exactly.
I love this. And remember, the software by Microsoft calculates all this, and it really lays it out for 403B participants, and maybe it's a good building idea for your practice. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, or email me at steve@thebiz.tv. That's the Buzz on the Biz for today. You've been in the zone, the business insurance zone.
You're listening to the insurance industry's #1 resource for products, planning ideas, carrier information, and interviews you can use. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.